we have an email from Joe, who is basically asking about the 221G situation with the Manila Embassy. I know that's something that we've spoken about before. Chris or Carl, do you want to maybe speak a little bit about that?
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, so as we know that many people received 221Gs in December, January, and February. I believe the problem is likely solved, and I say likely because right around when I heard in early March that the problem was solved, of course, the date retrogressed back to January 17, I guess. And so the vast majority of nurses who received the 221G in December, January, and February, they became no longer current as of March 1st. Having said that, I do believe it to be solved, and I do know of at least 2 other nurses, different than the nurses I'm talking before, who I have heard received their visas who had 221Gs in the first couple of days of March. But between the fact that the dates retrogressed and the COVID-19 situation closed or limited access to the embassy in Manila, it's hard to say for certain. So I guess there's good news, which is I think that it's solved, but until the retrogression issue is solved and embassies open, it's hard to say for certain if they are. One other point though, in order to get this expedited visa that I was talking about before, you must still qualify for the visa, which means 2 major things. One, of course, you must have your visa screen. It's not enough to just have the I-140. And 2, your priority date must be current. I suspect, Tanya, at some point someone's going to ask us about where we think priority dates are going. And so maybe I can just jump the gun on that, or we prefer if I just wait.
Go ahead, Chris, because I'm just reading a question right now that's who's asked, someone who's asking that exact question.
Yeah, and Carl, I don't know if you feel differently. Always predicting the visa bulletin is always very difficult, and I don't have any inside information at all. But the Department of State is supposed to try and issue all employment-based visas before the fiscal year ends in September, and there have been very few immigrant visas issued in March for obvious reasons because of COVID. And so my hunch is that at some point, the Department of State is going to actually have to rapidly accelerate the visa bulletin to just try and get anyone a visa so that they get as close to that 140,000 as possible. But I don't know if Carl has any information or sees it differently.
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of, it's like guessing the stock market or something. It's really tough.
Which is very volatile right now.
Yeah. So what we'd like to do, because I'm the last one who should make any predictions, but Charlie Oppenheim of the State Department, he meets with the American Immigration Lawyers Association once a month. And as soon as he comes up with his predictions, we just post them online. So far, he hasn't said anything about the coronavirus. Chris may very well be right, but I just don't know one way or another. We'll see what Charlie has to say in the coming month.
Yeah, I think it's just such a fluid, such a changing situation. It's unprecedented. No one has ever experienced anything like this. And the only thing that we can say is that, from our perspective, we will be, from the panel's perspective, we will be keeping you updated as soon as there are any changes that come to play in that regard.